And so why I in a orientation or where there are the group is heterogeneous, I would speak about gender equality. It has now gender economics is a main. It has become actually mainstream faculty also in several universities and colleges. Gender economics is also taught. I myself taught for several years. So you must be wondering why somebody from economics is talking about gender is because gender is also a development issue. It is like I spoke about several sustainable development dimensions and issues and all. So gender issues are also one of the development issues. So in the process of economic development, at one point of time, people thought that the trickle-down theory we have in economics. So what it says is when development takes place, it will automatically percolate to everybody. So people were thinking that when economic development takes place and it will reach both men and women equally, and both will be benefited from the development. But whereas it didn't happen. So Bosrup is a feminist economist, and she actually first time she identified that development is not gender neutral, and development is gender biased. So development has bias towards men. So men get more benefits out of the development when development takes place. So since then people started looking at gender issues. So I'm going to talk about what is gender equality. First of all, what is gender? So people have some misconceptions. At the cost of repetition, I'm repeating. Inde nan helthodre matte yen helta idnandre concept clarity irbeku. You are all young researchers, and you still have got long way to go in your research. So anything, if you want to make some good publications, and first of all, you get to know what is the meaning of that concept. If you know the concept clearly and its application, it will automatically come. So try to understand what is the, now we will try to understand what is gender and why we are talking about gender equality, and whether gender equity and gender equality are one and the same. Actually, gender issues are also multidisciplinary, as I told you. It applies to it. You can put it in from any discipline, any disciplinary perspective. So there are so many literature people have contributed in women's studies. Gender studies, there is International Association for Women's Studies in India, which is again a multidisciplinary organization where there are members from all the disciplines. And similarly, at the international level, you have International Association for Feminist Economics. So there are such multidisciplinary teams working on various aspects of gender. So each one of them, for example, historians look at gender issues from their historical perspective. Similarly, economists look at gender issues from development perspective. So each one, like for example, design students. So design students look at gender issues from design perspective. So what is to be designed, whether there is any neutrality in design, and whether this particular design is equally accessible to both men and women. So that is, so basic underlining of all these things is the gender issues cuts across. So they are multidisciplinary, they cut across all the disciplines. So every discipline has got something to contribute in the gender studies. So that is why let us see what is gender, why we are talking about gender. So what is gender? So anytime we are talking about gender like that. But what is gender is why we are looking at gender issues is gender refers to socially constructed roles and responsible relationships between men and women. So gender is a social construct in the sense society has decided that men should be working outside and women should be working inside the kitchen and cook for the family. These roles, this is what is called a gender division of roles. So gender division of roles has not been given by anybody from outside the world. So these are created by us. Gender roles are defined by us. So that is why basically gender refers to the socially constructed roles, male gender, female gender. So depending on what the society assigned roles, so we have male gender and female gender. So gender is usually defined as the social meaning given to biological sex differences. See, biological differences between man and a woman. So women carry X and Y chromosome, females carry XX chromosome. So, and the offspring baby may be having XX chromosome or XY chromosome. So how the offspring gets XX chromosome or XY chromosome, it is natural, it is biological. So on which we have no control. Nobody has any control over the combination that the offspring is going to get. But what we have control is, we have control over the defined gender roles. We have no control over the sexual differences. Sexual differences are biological and they are natural. But whereas gender differences are created by human beings. So boys should be doing this, boys should not be doing this, girls should be doing this. Like, it's not always only female at disadvantage, men also. Oh, in huduga altane, yake hudugan feelings iralva. So now assign madirodu, boys should be strong, boys should be, why not girls? So they are also biologically born as a human being. So, but in a society looks at ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ, ಒಂದು ದೊಡ್ಡ ಹುಡುಗಿ ಆದ್ರೂ ಕೂಡ ಒಂದು ಹುಡುಗನ ಕಳಿಸ್ತಾರೆ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು, ನಮ್ಮ ಪ್ಯಾಟ್ರಿಯಾರ್ಕಲ್ ಸೊಸೈಟಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಮ್ಯಾನ್ ಈಸ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಂಗ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಮ್ಯಾನ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಪ್ರೊಟೆಕ್ಟ್. ಸೊ ದೀಸ್ ಆರ್ ದಿ ಅಸೈನ್ಡ್ ರೋಲ್ಸ್. ಐ ಆಮ್ ನಾಟ್ ಟಾಕಿಂಗ್ ಗುಡ್ ಆರ್ ಬ್ಯಾಡ್ ಎನಿಥಿಂಗ್, but I am just analyzing how it is a it is a socially assigned, constructed. This is the gender is a socially constructed roles given to both men and women. So whereas why we are looking at is, see, because of these roles are skewed. Because of these roles in a patriarchal society, it is the responsibility of the man to earn for the family. So earning job is, or earning task is given to men and boys. Whereas cooking inside the house, taking care of the family, taking care of the children, taking care of the sick and old, is the role assigned to female. So for several, in a patriarchal society, even now also, that is the norm. So when these norms they are not static, they are dynamic, they keep changing. See, what my grandmother was not able to do, I am able to do. My grandmother she could never go to work because she was not encouraged, and she was told that her responsibilities within the kitchen. Whereas I am able to do work because now my family accepted me, I can go to work and I can do my job. So that means, gender roles are changing, and and they are not same for every race. See, within our country also, they are different in different cultures. Muslim culture and each culture, they are different. Muslims nalli kelu paddhatigalu irutte, boys ku girls ku. But whereas ಹಿಂದೂ ಧರ್ಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇರೆ ತರ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಕ್ರಿಶ್ಚಿಯಾನಿಟಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇರೆ ತರ ಇರ್ಬೋದು. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಜೆಂಡರ್ ರೋಲ್ಸ್ ಕೂಡ ದಿ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಡಿಪೆಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಆನ್ ದಿ ರೇಸ್, ದಿ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಡಿಪೆಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಆನ್ ದಿ ಕಲ್ಚರ್, ದಿ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಡಿಪೆಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಆನ್ ದಿ ರಿಲಿಜಿಯನ್. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ದೇ ಆರ್ ನಾಟ್ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಟಿಕ್. ಅಂಡ್ ವೈ ದೇ ಚೇಂಜ್, ಯಾಕೆ ಆತರ ಬದಲಾವಣೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಇದು ನಾವು ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿರೋದೇನೆ. ಆ ಧರ್ಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಅವ್ರು ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿರೋದು ಹಾಗೆ, ನಮ್ದ ಹಿಂದೂ ಧರ್ಮದಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿರೋದು ಈ ತರ. ಸೊ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನಂದ್ರೆ, ಈ ಜೆಂಡರ್ ರೋಲ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು ದೇ ಕೀಪ್ ಚೇಂಜಿಂಗ್. ಬಟ್ ಈ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂತಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಇಫ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಎ ಪರ್ಫೆಕ್ಟ್ ಡಿವಿಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಲೇಬರ್, ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಫೈನ್, ಬಟ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಎ ಪರ್ಫೆಕ್ಟ್ ಡಿವಿಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಲೇಬರ್. ಇದಕ್ಕೂ ಇನ್ನೂ ಬೇರೆ ರ್ಯಾಮಿಫಿಕೇಶನ್ ಇದೆ. ಏನು ರ್ಯಾಮಿಫಿಕೇಶನ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಫೀಮೇಲ್ಸ್ ಜಾಬ್ ಇಸ್ ವಿತ್ ಇನ್ ದಿ ಹೌಸ್ ಹೋಲ್ಡ್, ಶಿ ನೀಡ್ ನಾಟ್ ಅರ್ನ್ ಫಾರ್ ದಿ ಫ್ಯಾಮಿಲಿ. ಸೊ ಆದ್ರಿಂದ ಅವಳಿಗೆ ಎಜುಕೇಶನ್ ಬೇಕಾಗಲ್ಲ, ಅಂಡ್ ಮಕ್ಕಳನ್ನ ಓದಿಸ್ಬೇಕಾಗಲ್ಲ. ಯಾಕೆ, ಅವಳು ಕೆಲ್ಸಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾಳ, ಏನ್ ಮಹಾ ಬೇಡ, ಅವಳನ್ನ ಓದಿಸ್ಬೇಕಾಗಲ್ಲ. ಆದ್ರಿಂದ ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಮಂದಿ ಹೆಣ್ಮಕ್ಳು ವಂಚಿತರಾಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಎಜುಕೇಶನ್ ಇರ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಮತ್ತೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದೇನಂದ್ರೆ, ಕೆಲವು ಫ್ಯಾಮಿಲೀಸ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಅನುಕೂಲ ಇರೋ ಕಡೆ ಬಾಯ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಗರ್ಲ್ಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಫೈನ್. ಬಟ್ ವೇರೇಸ್ ಅನುಕೂಲ ಇಲ್ಲದೆ ಇರೋ ಕಡೆ ಇಬ್ಬರು ಮಕ್ಕಳನ್ನ ಓದಿಕ್ ಬಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಕಂಪ್ಯೂಟರ್ ಸೈನ್ಸ್ ಮೋರ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆನ್ಸಿವ್ ಅಂತ ಪರಿಸ್ಥಿತಿ ಇದೆ. ಸೊ ಅವಾಗ ಹುಡುಗಿ ಕಂಪ್ಯೂಟರ್ ಸೈನ್ಸ್ ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಕಳ್ಸಲ್ಲ, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ದುಡ್ಡು ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇದೆ. ಹುಡುಗನಾದ್ರೂ ಕಳ್ಸ್ಬೇಕು, ಹುಡುಗಿನಾದ್ರೂ ಕಳ್ಸ್ಬೇಕು. ಆ ಹುಡುಗನ್ ಕಳ್ಸೋಣ, ಹುಡುಗಿಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಇರೋದು ಓದ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಣ. ಅವಾಗ ಏನಾಯ್ತು, ಅವಳಿಗೂ ಆಕ್ಸೆಸ್ ಟು ಕಂಪ್ಯೂಟರ್ ಎಜುಕೇಶನ್ ಶಿ ಡಿಡ್ಂಟ್ ಗೆಟ್. ಸೊ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಮದುವೆ ಮಾಡಿ ಕಳ್ಸ್ಬೇಕಲ್ಲ, ಅವಳನ್ನು ಮದುವೆ ಮಾಡಿ ಅವ್ರ ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗ್ತಾಳೆ, ನಾವ್ ಯಾಕೆ ದುಡ್ಡು ಅದು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮಾಡಬಾರ್ದು ಅಂತಲ್ಲ, ಬಟ್ ಇರೋ ರಿಸೋರ್ಸಸ್ ಕಡಿಮೆ. ಸೊ ನಾವು ಇನ್ನು ಥಿಯರಿಟಿಕಲಿ ಇಡ್ಬೇಕಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, it is the distribution of resources. So why girls are not able to get these things, and resources are limited. Resources abundant iddaga ಏನು ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಇಬ್ಬರು ಮಕ್ಕಳನ್ನ ಕಳಿಸ್ತಾರೆ. ಬಟ್ ರಿಸೋರ್ಸಸ್ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇದ್ದಾಗ ಮಾತ್ರ ಜೆಂಡರ್ ರೋಲ್ಸ್, ಜೆಂಡರ್ ಸಿಚುಯೇಷನ್ ಕಮ್ಸ್ ಅಬೌಟ್. ಸೊ ಈ ಕಾರಣದಿಂದ ಏನಾಯ್ತು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಹೆಣ್ಮಕ್ಳಿಗೂ ವಿದ್ಯಾಭ್ಯಾಸ ಬೇಕಾಗಲ್ಲ. ಮತ್ತೆ ಅದೇ ತರ ಆರೋಗ್ಯ ಪರಿಸ್ಥಿತಿ ಹೆಲ್ತ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ. ಸೊ ಹೆಲ್ತ್ ಏನಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು, ಅವಳೇನ್ ಮನೆ ಸಂಪಾದನೆ ಮಾಡೋದಲ್ವಾ, ಶಿ ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ದಿ ಬ್ರೆಡ್ ವಿನ್ನರ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಫ್ಯಾಮಿಲಿ. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಓಕೆ. ಬಟ್ ಅದೇ ಬ್ರೆಡ್ ವಿನ್ನರ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಫ್ಯಾಮಿಲಿಗೆ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಹುಷಾರ್ ತಪ್ಪಿದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಹೆಂಗಾದ್ರೂ ಏನಾದ್ರೂ ಉಳಿಸ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತಾನೋ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಾನು ಐ ಆಮ್ ಟಾಕಿಂಗ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಕಡುಬಡವರು ಮತ್ತೆ ಮಿಡಿಲ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಇನ್ಕಮ್ ಅಂತದ್ದು. ತುಂಬಾ ಶ್ರೀಮಂತರಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಮಾಡುತ್ತಾರೆ, ಎಲ್ಲರನ್ನೂ ನೋಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಎಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಕಾಸಿನ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆ ಬರುತ್ತೋ ಆವಾಗ ಮಾತ್ರ ಈ ತರ ರೂಲ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು, ಜೆಂಡರ್ ರೂಲ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಬಂದೇ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಇದು ಈವನ್ ನಾವ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಸ್ಟಿಲ್ ಸಿಚುಯೇಷನ್ ಇಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ ದಟ್ ಇನ್ ವೆರಿ ಪುವರ್ ಫ್ಯಾಮಿಲೀಸ್. ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಮಂದಿ ಹೆಣ್ಮಕ್ಳು ಅವಕಾಶ, ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಬುದ್ಧಿ ಇದ್ರು ಕೂಡ, ಈವನ್ ಇಫ್ ದೇ ಆರ್ ಕ್ವೈಟ್ ಇಂಟೆಲಿಜೆಂಟ್, ಬಟ್ ದೇ ಆರ್ ನಾಟ್ ಏಬಲ್ ಟು ಡೂ ವಾಟ್ ದೇ ವಾಂಟ್ ಟು ಡೂ. ಸೊ ಇದು ನಾನು ಏನು ವಾಟ್ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಟ್ರೈಂಗ್ ಟು ಟೆಲ್ ಇಸ್, because of this patriarchal system, because of these gender norms, gender differences are more. Gender differences in the sense, employment nalli nodi, ಮತ್ತೆ ವಿದ್ಯೆನಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿ, ಆರೋಗ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿ, ಎಲ್ಲದರಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ ದೇರ್ ಆರ್ ಜೆಂಡರ್ ಡಿಫ್ರೆನ್ಸಸ್. ಸೊ ಯಾಕೆ ಬಂತು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ ಜೆಂಡರ್ ರೋಲ್ಸ್ ನಾವು ಡಿಫೈನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದಿಂದ, ಸೊ ಅದರಿಂದ ಆಕ್ಸೆಸ್ ಟು ಆಲ್ ದೀಸ್ ರಿಸೋರ್ಸಸ್ ಹಸ್ ಕಮ್ ಅಬೌಟ್. ಸೊ ಆ ಕಾರಣಕ್ಕೆ, ಅಂಡ್ ದೀಸ್ ಆರ್ ನಾಟ್ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಟಿಕ್, ದೇ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಬಿ ಎಟ್ ಒನ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಟೈಮ್. ಹೆಣ್ಮಕ್ಳು ಏನು ಗಾಡಿ ಓಡಿಸೋದು ಅಂತ ಇತ್ತು, ಹೆಣ್ಮಕ್ಳು ಯಾಕೆ ಗಾಡಿ ಓಡ್ಸಕ್ ಆಗಲ್ಲ, ಓಡಿಸ್ಬೋದು. ಅವಾಗೆಲ್ಲ ವಿಚಿತ್ರವಾಗಿ ನೋಡ್ತಿದ್ರು. ನಾವು ಸೈಕಲ್ ಓಡಿಸುವಾಗ, ಟೂ ವೀಲರ್ ಓಡಿಸುವಾಗ್ಲೇನೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ವಿಚಿತ್ರವಾಗಿ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು. ಇವಾಗ ಏನಿಲ್ಲ, ನಾವು ನೋಬಡಿ ಬಾದರ್ಸ್, ಗರ್ಲ್ಸ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಸೈಕಲ್, ಬಾಯ್ಸ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಯ್ತು, ಗರ್ಲ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಚೇಂಜಿಂಗ್. ನೀವು ದೃಷ್ಟಿಕೋನ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಬದಲಾವಣೆ ಆಯ್ತು. ಸೊ ಆ ಕಾರಣದಿಂದ ಹೆಣ್ಮಕ್ಳು ಕೂಡ ಅವಕಾಶ ಸಿಕ್ತು. ಅವಳಿಗೂ ಡ್ರೈವ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಂತ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಅವಳಿಗೂ ಸೈಕ್ಲಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಂತ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ನೀನ್ ಹುಡುಗಿ ಅಂತ ನೀನ್ ಸೈಕ್ಲಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡಬಾರ್ದು ಅಂತ. ಐ ಮೈಸೆಲ್ಫ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಕಮ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದಟ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್. When we were in village and we were not allowed to cycle because ಏನು ಗಂಡ್ ಮಕ್ಕಳ ತರ ಸೈಕಲ್ ಓಡಿಸ್ತಾಳಂತೆ, ಅದೇ ತರ ಇತ್ತು. ಸೊ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ನಾವು ಏನಕ್ಕೆ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಸೊ ಈವನ್ ದೋ ಕ್ಯಾಪಬಿಲಿಟೀಸ್ ಆರ್ ಸೇಮ್, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಜೆಂಡರ್ ಡಿವಿಷನ್ ಗರ್ಲ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ನಾಟ್ ಏಬಲ್ ಟು ಆಕ್ಸೆಸ್ ದಿ ರಿಸೋರ್ಸಸ್. ಸೊ ಈ ರಿಸೋರ್ಸಸ್ ಇಂದ ವಂಚಿತರಾಗಿ ಅವ್ರಿಗೂ ಜೆಂಡರ್ ಗ್ಯಾಪ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು ತುಂಬಾ ಆಯ್ತು, ತುಂಬಾ ಗ್ಯಾಪ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಯ್ತು. ಬಟ್ ಇವಾಗ ಏನಂದ್ರೆ ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಕಂಟ್ರೀಸ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಗೆ ರಿಸರ್ಚ್ ಇಂದ ಮತ್ತೆ ಏನು ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ವಾಟ್ ಕೇಮ್ ಔಟ್ ವೆರಿ ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ಲಿ ಇಸ್ ಜೆಂಡರ್ ಈಕ್ವಾಲಿಟಿ ಇಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಫಾರ್ ಇಕನಾಮಿಕ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್. ಸೊ ತುಂಬಾ ಕಂಟ್ರೀಸ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಬೇರೆಯವರು ಯಾವ ಕಂಟ್ರಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಆಪರ್ಚುನಿಟೀಸ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೋ ಆ ಕಂಟ್ರೀಸ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿ ಹೊಂದಿದೆ. ಈಗ ತುಂಬಾ ಡೆವಲಪ್ಡ್ ಕಂಟ್ರೀಸ್ ನೋಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಆಪರ್ಚುನಿಟೀಸ್ ಇದೆ. ಸೊ ಅದರಿಂದ ನಾವು ಇವಾಗ ಏನ್ ಆರ್ಗ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, gender equality is important for the development. That is the argument that we are going to put it. So gender is the basis for every, nani helidangene, why we have to talk about gender is, it is the basis for all the division of labor. As I told you, ಈಗ ನಾನು ಹೇಳಿದ gender roles are defined based on male or female. So why you have so many women as sweepers, why we have so many women in low paid jobs, why we have so many women in unorganized sector, why we have so many women as housemaids. ಕೆಲಸಗಾರರು, ಮನೆ ಕೆಲಸ ಬರೋರೆಲ್ಲ ಸುಮಾರು ಮಂದಿ ಹೆಣ್ಮಕ್ಳೇನೆ. ಮನೆ ಕೆಲಸ ಗೂಡ್ಸಿ ವರ್ಷಿ ಪಾತ್ರೆ ತೊಳೆಯಕ್ಕೆ ಯಾರು ಬರಲ್ಲ, ಬಾಯ್ಸ್ ಯಾರು ಬರಲ್ಲ. ಯಾಕೆ ದೇ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಡೂ ಇಟ್. ಇದು ಮಾಡಬಾರ್ದಂತಾನೋ ಕೆಲಸ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಬಟ್ ಅವ್ರು ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಜೆಂಡರ್ ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ದಿ basic division, labor market. If you look at in a perspective, labor market is highly segregated. You have more men in secure jobs and less women in secure jobs, more women in unorganized sector. You have so many unorganized sector women in unorganized sector. ಈಗ ನೀವು ಬೆಂಗಳೂರಲ್ಲಿ ಅಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ರಿಗೆ ಬೆಳಗ್ಗೆನೆ ಒಂದ್ ಬ್ಯಾಗ್ ಹಾಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ತಾಳೆ ಅಂತ ಎಲ್ಲ ಖುಷಿ. ನೋಡಿ ಈಗ ಹೆಣ್ಮಕ್ಳೆಲ್ಲ ಎಷ್ಟು ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಹೋಗ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಲೈಕ್ ದಟ್ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಕಾಮೆಂಟ್. But why are they settling for such low employment? Because of their responsibilities within the household. Avre alla. There are so many highly talented and highly qualified engineering, medicine ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದ ಹೆಣ್ಮಕ್ಳು ಕೂಡ they are staying at home. Why? Because of the family responsibilities. Because society assesses that only she has to take care of the family responsibilities. So by all these things is, it is leading to what is called the segregation of labor market between men and women based on the gender roles assigned. So because of this segregation, so the contribution of women to the national income is much lower than men. Why? Because of these gender differences. So biological differences determine who gives birth to a child, but they in themselves cannot explain why women should also be predominantly responsible for looking after. See, biologically, yes, only women have got uterus and women can have a baby. Man cannot. That is biological. Who, which God, what, we don't know. It is biological, natural. But there is nothing like, you can't take care of the baby when baby is born. But in our culture, it is only female has to take care of this whole issue. So women are mostly engaged in unpaid reproductive work and men are engaged in productive work. So families are characterized not by, see, Amartya Sen talks about the families about, when he is characterizing it, there is not only cooperation but also conflict. Why women stay back is because of the gender norms, because how women are treated once they come out of the family, out of the marriage. So madve murdu varagade bandidare andre ಹೆಣ್ಮಕ್ಕಳನ್ನ ತುಂಬಾ ಕೆಟ್ಟದಾಗ ನೋಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಅದೇ ಬಾಯ್ಸ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ nobody bothers. So that is why women endure to the maximum extent that is possible. So mostly men in the group will have different opinions. We'll talk about it a little bit. I'm sure that you will be having different opinions. Okay. So feminist economists have used gender as a category of analysis. So in gender and development concept nalli ella kadanu men micro macro meso level different levels nalli kuda people have used gender as a category in explaining the phenomena or the development phenomena. So why it is important to have gender equality and sustainable development? Actually, I want to talk about equity and equality. Oh, where is this? Oh, I lost that file, I think. 1 minute. I just want to give you one file about what is equity and equality. Generally, people think that they are one and the same, but equity and equality are not one and the same. There is some slight difference. I will just stop this and I will this one give one more file. I think I missed that file. Oh, where is this? How to do this? Yeah. Gender equality. I hope it is there. I don't know where it has gone. No, if time permits, I will show you that file later. Not now. Okay, now again I have to share. Okay. Where is this? I'm sorry, I'm not getting that file. I will show you later. I will. See how equity and equality are different. And equality is the end product. Equity is ensuring equity, ensuring equal opportunity. So for which, there is some beautiful example. I will come to that later. Okay. So now let us see what is the relationship between gender equality and sustainable development. Why gender equality is important. Gender equality and sustainable development, how these two are linked. Because right now, recently, just now you heard about sustainable development and its different dimensions. So, but formally, let us get to know what is the how gender equality and sustainable development are linked to each other. So, first of all, of course, it is moral and ethical imperative. Why it is moral and ethical is everybody should be involved in the Actually, in sustainable development also, we have seen that it is inclusive development. So it is important both men and women also should be equally involved. So that is one ethical and moral issue. And second one, it is critical to redress the disproportionate impact of economic, social, and environmental shocks and stress on women and girls. See, any environmental shock or any differences, for example, war. Let us not natural, man-made. Let us think of man-made disaster. So war. So if there is a war in any country, so its impact is different on men and women. Okay. So first impact is that employment reduction. Or when factories are closed, small, because most of the women are in smaller factories. See, forget about any war, our COVID. So all of you have seen. So COVID impact on men and women is different. So COVID impact on men and women is how it is different is COVID impact on men, for example, employment. So as I told you, many women are in unorganized sector. Many women are in daily wages and many women are working as housemaids and all. So they all have lost their jobs. All of them have lost their jobs. Whereas men are in somewhat better secured jobs. So that is differential impact on men and women. And second one is health. So health issues. Pandemic has a different impact on men and women because women are the caregivers. Their work burden has increased. COVID has increased their work burden. And apart from that, during the pandemic, how many children are born? How much struggle women have to make to get access to medical facility. So again, that is it is gendered differences between men and women. The pandemic has a differential impact on men and women. See, like that, any calamity or any man-made or natural calamities, they have a differential effect on men and women. Why they have differential impact on men and women is because gender roles are different. So what women do in an economy, what men do in an economy, they are different. So their requirements are different. So, and one more example I'll tell you. When how public policies have differential impact on men and women. See, if you think of GST, government has introduced GST, all of you know about it. When government introduced GST, they have put different slabs, 12%, 13%, 8%. There are slabs, some commodities are in different slabs. So when they put sanitary napkins also in a higher slab, because sanitary napkins are minimum requirement for all females. So, and many are not in a position even to, not in an affordable position to buy that. So when the high tax is imposed on those things, so it will affect, it will, it's a blanket, this one, imposition of GST. So then they become very impact on men and women unless until these differences are taken care. Unless until these differences are taken care, it is not, I mean, you can't achieve what is called the gender equality. So when we are talking about gender means we are talking about again repeating. When we are talking about gender financially, they affect differently. So that is why we need to have gender equality. And it is important to build women's agency and capabilities to get better synergies between gender equality and sustainable development outcomes. So if we want to develop good synergy, so we should not be talking about me and those girls sitting in your group. It is not. We have much more women who are not aware of the policies, who do not have access to resources, who do not have access to any communication. So we are talking about those women So they can't exercise their agency to get access. So that needs to be addressed. So because to create better synergies are needed for sustainable development. You have seen. So what is meant by synergies? I have shown you 3 rounds, and social, economic and environment. Only when there is synergy, it will lead to sustainable development. If they are independent, we can't lead to sustainable development. So to create such synergies, it is important to promote women's agency and access to resources. For these reasons, sustainable development is linked to what is called the gender equality. And there is a growing evidence of synergies between gender equality on one hand and economic, social, and environmental sustainability. So unsustainable practices of development often intensify gender inequality. See, there are so many research studies which have clearly shown. So gender inequality, the development where, there is a gender inequality, it leads to unsustainable development. For sustainable development, gender equality has been one of the important issues. So that is how actually it has been included in sustainable development goals. You have seen sustainable development goals in the morning. So 5th goal of sustainable development goals is gender equality. Why it is given so much importance? Because it has been clearly shown, our the literature or our development process has clearly shown that development for an inclusive development, for development to be sustainable, gender equality is very important. So that is how actually promoting gender equality is also one of the important goals. That is 5th goal of sustainable development. So there are several arguments. Of course, dominant development pathways contributed to unsustainability. So gender equality and sustainability can reinforce each other. So earlier development paths, they have not led to the sustainable development. So now the alternative path is where, gender is also included in the development process. So then I will come to economic participation of women. Why women are to be encouraged in economic participation is how we also have seen poverty is one of the important sustainable development objectives. So economic participation of women, research has shown that economic participation of women has led to what is called the long-term poverty reduction. The countries where there is greater participation of women, poverty levels are low. And similarly, economic diversification. So economic diversification is another argument. So when women are also included in policy making, so you get a different perspective. The way women look at it, the things are different from the way men look at it. So I will give you one more example. I was always giving this example, which we did we studied in what is called in one of our projects with Singama Srinivasan Foundation. So we actually, the project was to what is called to empower elected representatives, elected women representatives. So elected women representatives, we have done the exercise in different Mysore City Corporation wards. So priorities, when priorities are determined, where money has to be spent. So the women corporators have different priorities and men corporators have different priorities. So how much money is to be spent on what? So men corporators have given different priorities, women corporators have given different priorities. If women, elected women representatives are not there, that particular issues would not have been there. So means, the diversification, it is possible to address several issues which is not reflected in men's opinion. Maybe it will be when women are also included. So that is why women's participation is important for diversification and also skills. Men are good at certain skills and women are good at certain skills. Say, for example, printed circuit board and where, you will be doing repeated jobs. So where, women are mostly engaged. So it is possible if there is more participation of women in these jobs, in economic activities. So, and next one is reduction in income inequality. These two are not one and the same. Long-term poverty reduction and income inequality, reducing inequality are not one and the same. So long-term poverty reduction within families and reduction in income inequalities is also another issue. So economic participation of women will lead to what is called the reduction in income inequalities. When families' economic level, income levels increase, the disparity between those who have and do not have will be less. So this is based on several researches which has been conducted. So economic participation of women leads to long-term poverty reduction and economic diversification, and also reduction in income inequalities. So, so I have given certain arguments why it is important to promote gender equality. So we all talk about women are seen everywhere. We are giving equal opportunities, this, that, and all. But what is the gender gap in India? Where does India stand in gender gap? So, of course, we have only 2011 sex ratio. Sex ratio was very high. Sex ratio means for 1,000 boys, how many girls are there? If we are taking that way, for 1,000, if 1,000 boys are born and how many girls are born, that is what is called the sex ratio. And biologically, because there are only two options, boy or girl, biologically there is equal opportunity to be born as a boy or girl. So that means there should have been equal number of boys and girls. But whereas in reality, we don't have, for 1,000 boys, we don't have 1,000 girls. For 1,000 boys, we have only 900 and something girls are there. So, but whereas, sex ratio was very possible, not skewed in 1901. For 1,000 boys, there were 972 girls. So it has slowly come down. In 1971, it was 930 girls per 1,000 boys. And slowly it started increasing. See, as the technology developed, with the technological advancement, this is another point. So technology is also not gender neutral. So technology also skewed towards men, or some technologies are skewed against women. So for example, the technology that has come about is amniocentesis. So amniocentesis is a technology where, unborn baby, so few fluid will be taken and observe if there are any deformities. So that is the technology. But that technology is used to know the sex of the baby, fetus, boy or girl. If it is a girl, go for abortion. And because abortion technology also developed so well. So this technology is actually working against women. So due to this only, you find a lot of female feticide, infanticides taking place. Girl child, if the moment they come to know girl child, okay, go for abortion. So that is the kind of situation that led to the reduction in girl child. That is again attributed to our gender norms. Why boy or girl? What is a big difference? You bring up the child and you get them educated. You get them, find them a job. So if that is the kind of equality given to both men and women, boys and girls, this situation would not have been there. But because of our gender norms, our patriarchal norms, girl is to be married and married by her own parents and all sorts of things related to that. So this is the sex ratio. And of course, now slowly things have improved. India's sex ratio at birth has been moving towards balance in recent years. So this is the latest data. PEW Group's research center was there. From there, I have collected this data. So slowly, why it was in 70s and all, abortion legalized in 1970s, and testing that was introduced in 70s. That is how actually this, it is very clear. Infanticide and feticide is very, very clear. Sex ratio has come down, and slowly with greater awareness, more awareness is being created and gender norms are changing. So because of that, slowly the ratio is increasing. So this is sex ratio in southern states, whether there is any difference between Karnataka, because they are our neighbors. So in sex ratio in Andhra Pradesh is 939, whereas Kerala it was 964, Tamil Nadu 943, and Karnataka it was 943. So all over India it was 919. You can see the gravity of the situation. So, but in Karnataka, within Karnataka, you find that in some districts there is good, balanced sex ratio. whereas in Udupi, Dakshin Kannada, and these are the districts where, sex ratio is favorable to girls, whereas we have in Bijapur, Bidar, Haveri, and those districts, Bangalore rural and Bangalore urban. So in both places, the sex ratio is very, very low. So, but at the same time, let us look at the women in higher education, whether there is any gender gap in higher education and labor force participation. See, one important thing, one phenomena that is happening is more and more girls are getting educated. They are entering into higher education institutions. If you see university, you find more girls than boys. Why? Because they are ranking, they are getting good ranks and they are getting into the university higher education system. But after that, they are not getting into the job market. They are not able to take up the jobs because of so many family issues and things like that. So that is again because of gender roles, because girls are expected to be staying at home and they can't go too far to work because family is a responsibility. See, this is very clear. See, for example, gross enrollment ratio in higher education, there are more girls. See, for example, men and women. So almost equal. So gross enrollment ratio. Gross enrollment ratio, boys also 26, girls also 26. So it means, there is no gap. So out all the eligible, 26% are boys and 26% girls are entering into the higher education. They are entering. But whereas when it comes to labor force participation, it has come down very much. See, labor force participation in 2001, slightly it has increased, it has maintained, and now it is almost, it is coming down. So labor force participation is coming down. It is mainly attributable to the patriarchal system. So this is NSS data, but 2011 and 12, it is somewhat old data. I think this is also 2015-16 data. So this is basically labor force participation in different states, of course. Maybe some more interesting data I will show you. This is the labor force participation rate, annual. So female labor force participation, it has come down. It was 54 and now it has come down to 49. It has come down. So when you look at OECD has done a study. OECD has done a study to understand why less girls are coming to the employment labor. So what they found is, Indian women don't do much housework. So very less men are engaged in household work within the, see, for example, if you see the developed countries, France, Australia, Germany, Canada, these are all developed countries. There is so much time women also spend within the kitchen and the house. But whereas in India, Turkey, Japan, less men are engaged in the household routine housework. So, and also time in different activities. How much time men spend and how much time women spend, these are all timeline surveys. So in timeline surveys also, employment and related activities, how much men and how much women spend. Say, for example, production of goods for own consumption and unpaid domestic services. Unpaid domestic services, 17.2. This is females, and whereas men only 1.9. So it is all for all of us, we know, but this also came out very clearly in these studies. So similarly, culture, leisure, mass media, and self-care and maintenance. So, and unpaid domestic work, of course, we have seen. So what it says is mainly more and more time is spent in unproductive work. So what difficulty in transition, this is what is called, we call it as a difficulty in transition. More and more girls are getting encouraged to come into higher education, getting educated. But whereas, it is not getting translated into labor force participation, because labor force participation is very important for women to contribute to the national income. And not only that, for reduction in the poverty and, for reaching the sustainable development goals, women's participation is very important. So that is how now we have called what is called the ideal girls. It is called ideal girls phenomenon now. Some time ago, Amartya Sen coined missing girls. whereas now it is called ideal girls, they're not coming to job. So, so when it comes to Sustainable Development Goal 5, as I told you, Sustainable Development Goal 5 is about attaining gender equality. So about all goals, I didn't give all the targets, because for all the 17 goals, if I give targets, what has been fixed, it will take 3 days for us to get to know. So that is why I just only told you about what are the goals. But whereas gender goal, we will go more into details. So what are the targets fixed for goal 5, that is attaining gender equality. Attaining gender equality is the 5th goal of sustainable development. So in this 5th goal, what are the targets is end all forms of discrimination against all women and girls everywhere, and elimination of all forms of violence against all women and girls in public and private spheres, and eliminate all harmful practices. All harmful practices in African countries, we have genital mutilation and such kind of horrible practices are there against girls, and there are some organizations which are working against that kind of practice. In India, getting children married, young children married before they mature, and those are the practices. And then recognize and value paid care, unpaid care. So much unpaid care women are giving, so that needs to be valued, and ensure women's full and effective participation and equal opportunities for leadership in decision making in political, economic, and public sphere. This is also another goal, another target of Sustainable Development Goal 5. So equal opportunity in the sense, not just sending children, both boys and girls, to school. Equal opportunity in decision-making positions. So even though Companies Act says that, there should be one woman in their boards. So many boards, there are not women. So when we think of Anil Ambani, Ambanis and all, not only one or two, but several companies, they don't have females in the board. So decision-making, even if female is there in the decision-making position also, she is hardly heard. Her decision is not being heard. So then next objective is ensure universal access to sexual and reproductive health and reproductive rights. This is very important. So ensuring equal rights to sexual and reproductive health. So sexual and reproductive health becomes extremely important for a female because it is her body. And she has to take body and physical and mental problems when she doesn't have access to reproductive health. So ensuring reproductive health is very, we have so many unwanted pregnancies, and girls end up in unwanted pregnancies when they don't have access to the health, reproductive health. So then undertake reforms to give women equal right to economic resources and access to ownership and control over land and other forms of. This is also another target. And in relation to this, we have what is called in Karnataka also. In Karnataka, actually, first it was made. Girls also have equal access to the parental property. So girls have equal. I think all of you also know about it. Girls also can get the part of their property from their parents, because that is ensuring equal opportunity, equal access to resources. And then enhance the use of enabling technology, information and communication technology, to promote empowerment of women. See, women are always, away from usage of information and communication technology. When we are talking about women, don't think of girls and boys who are working in IT companies. So those girls and boys who are working in IT companies constitute a very small percentage of women who are working in different areas. So women's access to technology is very important for ensuring their safety and ensuring them freedom. And adopt and strengthen sound policies and enforceable legislation for the promotion of gender equality, empowerment. So these are the targets of the Sustainable Development Goals. So Sustainable Development Goal is ensuring gender equality, but these are the targets. So let us see where India stands. So here, if you look at these states, this is the 1819 first benchmark survey. So in benchmark survey, you find all states are in red. Only Kerala and Sikkim. Only Kerala and Sikkim, they have attained more than 50% gender equality goal. And then Andaman, Nicobar and Chandigarh. So these two also have attained some gender equality goal more than 50%. But no state is in the front runner. No state has attained more than 65% in the 18 and 19 data. But whereas by 1920, this is 1819 and this is 1920. So 1920 also still we have so many states in red. In so many states, they have not reached even 50% of the gender equality goal of sustainable development. You can see all in red. All in red, only Himachal Pradesh and Kerala. So only they have reached more than 50%. And also Jammu Kashmir and Ladakh, there also. But all other states have attained only less than 50% gender equality goal. So when it comes to, this is 1920. 2021, at least some states have transited from red to yellow. See, for example, the red color has come down. So now some states have reached a better level, that is yellow level. So Karnataka is now in yellow. But whereas here in 1920, Karnataka is also in red status only, less than 50% status only. Only 2021 Karnataka has reached to more than 50%. And this is the status of all the states in goal 5. So this will be easy to understand. So in 1819, all states are in red except Kerala and Mizoram. But these states mainly they have attained less than 50% in gender equality. But whereas 1920 it has come down slightly, and 2021 many states are performing better in terms of gender equality. So you find several states in gender equality. See here in yellow we have so many states. We have so many states. Front runners, only 3 states are there. And we have a lot of states in performer, and less than 50% there are only few states. That means there is a progress, but still so many are in less than 50% attainment. But let us see how our neighbors, because in Asian countries, especially Bangladesh and Maldives, Bhutan, in our neighbors Pakistan. So in Asian countries, we have some kind of similar, culture. So that is why I don't want to compare ourselves with the US, UK, and such countries. So within our own region, how the countries are. So top 5 countries in global gender gap index. So Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and Nepal, they are above us. And this closer to 1 is better, because if the score is 1 means there is no gender gap. Score is 8 means less gender gap. But whereas, when score is 0.55 means there is a lot of gender gap. There is no gender gap means it becomes 1. So in that sense, Bangladesh is above us, Sri Lanka is above us, and only these countries are below us. So these are global ranking, but Sub-Saharan Africa also, they have scored better. But why, again, we can't just take the numbers as they are, because some of these African countries, women participation is there. I was in Tanzania and had an opportunity to look at the women's participation in work and employment. So what I observed is their women's participation is there. So that is a work participation rate, it increases and the score may be better. But in reality, in other parameters, they are in a very bad status. So if you look at the overall industry, artificial intelligence and gender gaps, see here all of us are thinking that more girls are entering into IT sector and there is equal pay, there is less gender discrimination and all that. But actually, how many are there in these sectors? See, for example, healthcare, you have more men, and education also there are more men. Only in non-profit sector, only in non-profit sector you find more women, and in all other places, for example, mining, energy and mining, 82 are men, only 18 are women, and manufacturing, 85 are men, only 15 are women. So, for example, corporate services, there is also in all places there are more men than women, except in non-profit sector. So, at the global level, World Economic Forum, they publish these reports and where India stands. So, Global Gender Gap Index in 2020, where India stands is Global Gender Gap Index. We are in 2006. This is a comparison of 2006 score and 2020 score. Whether there is any improvement or deterioration, you yourself can see. So from 98 position, we came to 112. And economic participation also, economic participation and opportunity, we were 0.39. We have come down 0.35. Less is gap is more. And educational attainment, we have improved. Educational attainment gap was 0.81 and it is 0.96. Means, in educational attainment, we have gender parity because it is moving towards one, both boys and girls are getting educated. But in health and survival also, we have better opportunity, better gender parity. And in health and survival also 0.96 and it is 0.94. And political empowerment, again, we are lagging behind. But in economic participation, we are lagging much behind in economic participation. So similarly, the same thing is explained in a much more way. I think you guys are not interested. I will share this if you are interested, because people are doing their own work. I can make out all the participants are, many of the participants are doing your own job. It is okay. I don't mind if you are doing your job. Maybe you need not come and sit in the class. If you have some other work, you better do that. Don't come to this lecture. Why should I can share this and you can, and all of you are, we can read and write. And I took so much time to collect all this latest information. This is about South Asia. South Asia, as I told you, we should compare ourselves with nearby. So within South Asia, if you look at the ranks, Bangladesh, Nepal, they are all above us. Below us, we have only Iran, Pakistan, and Afghanistan. So we have Muslim countries, or mainly Muslim countries, because, the kind of restrictions, the kind of Muslim countries have got several other issues when it comes to gender equality. So only those countries are below us and all other countries are above us. That means, still India has a long way to go. So if you want to compare with Europe and such kind of highly developed things, Iceland, the gender score is 0.90, means almost 1. And Finland, Norway, Sweden, Ireland, these are all developed countries, and there the gender gap is very low. So there is a kind of correlation between gender gap and the development status of this thing. North America, Canada, it is 7.7, and United States 0.769. So, so I want to explain about all these things. So criteria for assessing sustainable development policies and programs. When any government is implementing sustainable development policies and programs, what criteria is to be taken to assess if they are leading to gender equality or not? If you want to see whether the government policies are leading to gender equality or not, how to assess the criteria? What is the criteria? So the criteria, they have given 3 criteria. So World Survey on Role of Women in Development 2014. So they have identified 3 criteria. The first criterion is whether with respect to women's capabilities and their enjoyment of human rights. So in the name of sustainable development, countries are introducing several policies and programs. So, but whether they are leading to gender equality or not is a question to be looked at. So to do that, they have come out with a criteria. First criteria is because of these interventions, whether women's capabilities are improved or not, whether they have greater enjoyment of human rights, whether their human rights are in any danger. So that has to be taken, understood when any program is implemented in the name of sustainable development. So sustainable, as I told you, in system approach, when government is introducing certain things for sustainable development, it may have an impact on the capabilities of women or access to their resources or their rights. So it is important to look at how these things are affecting their capability. That is one thing. Second criterion is with respect to impact on the unpaid care work. So if any government intervention in the name of sustainable development, if it is increasing the unpaid work, so it doesn't lead to the gender equality. So what it means is if government increases, if government increases fee for hospital fee or something like that, healthcare expenditure. So if government increases the charges, so what happens is it will have more burden on women, because women, the patients or children, they are to be taken care at home. So it will increase the burden on women. So second criterion to see if it is increasing the impact on the care of work. And third one is policies that are intended to end sustainability. Sometimes they will have an impact on the care of the work of the women within the household. And third criterion is meaningful participation. So whether women are included in the decision making, how women are included in the decision making at different levels. For example, grassroots level, when decisions are made, when policies are made, whether women are there in those committees. So whether women are given opportunity or not, that is another criteria one has to look into when you are looking at the policies which are having an impact. But how to achieve this? How criteria is fine, but how to achieve this is involving those people, appropriate forms of it. First thing is involving more women in decision making. See, for example, in India, we have Panchayat Raj institutions, which is a very good institution for the participation of women with reservation and all. But for their effective functioning, there are several issues which need to be addressed. And another thing is appropriate forms of investment in public services. This is very, very important. So I told you about ideal girls. So ideal girls is why they are not working, because our policies are so skewed. So you only encourage girls to study hard and to get into good college, to get a good degree and all that. After that, we in the sense government. So government gives scholarships, this, that and all for girls to get education and all that. But after that, when they come to employment, we are not able to give supporting services. So in how many institutions, forget about any government, even private high-tech computer software companies and all, they don't have babysitting. They don't have opportunity for girls to bring their children and keep them in crush nearby so that they can go in the break. And they don't get any allowance for taking care of children. So when those investment, government should invest in such kind of places. So where, women get some support, even if there is nobody at home, also they can come to job and do their work. So that kind of investments are needed, and the state plays an important role. Government plays an important role in setting the standards and regulations. See, if government makes a rule, it will be implemented rather than at the individual. Some companies are very good. Some companies, they give proper maternity leave and their postings and some, but whereas in government, it is very, very rigid and we don't have such kind of supporting policies. And some companies are very bad. So they don't have a family-friendly policies. So this comes about only when the decision making is, when they focus on family-friendly policies. So strategies. So this is about government policy. for a period of time, what and all government is doing. And strategies are tinkering, tailoring, and transforming strategies are important. First thing is tinkering. Tinkering means what? We do tinkering for vehicles and all. So tinkering means existing policies, you see what can be done. How you can make the opportunity for the girls to come and work. So that is tinkering. And tailoring is make appropriate policies where women can spend time. Of course, some policies like, for example, UGC and DBT and all, they have increased the age bar for women scientists and girls to take up employment or fellowships, applying for fellowships. Such things are happening, but still we need many more. So that is tailoring. And transforming. Transforming means it is completely transforming the existing situation. So this happens with the gender mainstreaming. So involving gender issues in everything that the government or private sector is doing. So that is what is transformative policies. So gender mainstreaming is one of the transformative policies. This is about gender gap. I just want to show you what is equity and equality. Just one second. Recently used files, it will be there. Gender equality, sustainable development. Pressure course. No, I think this is this only. No, this is this only. 1 minute. Yeah, no, this is not. Actually, one beautiful diagram is there, which clearly shows about the difference between equity and equality. I thought that it explains much more better, but I don't know how I missed it. It should be in recent this thing only. 1 minute. Sustainable development. No, I think here it should be there. No, I don't know. I missed it. It's okay, no problem. If I get it, I will do it. So I would like to conclude by 1 minute. I will close this. Yeah, this is what I wanted to show you. Can you see this? Or I think I should share again. No, I should share now again. Desktop.
Yes, madam, you have to share.
I should share again. Yeah, yes. I will put it in desktop and share again. So, where is this? On desktop. HRDC 17. Because not only for gender, otherwise also. Now, can you see this? Can you see this?
Yes, ma'am.
You can see, no, equity and equality.
No, madam.
No, madam.
Key highlights of the global gender gap report is there.
I think that one I have to stop and then open this. Yeah. Yeah. I have stopped this and I will share. Okay. Where is this? So many files. I will open this. Yeah, this one only. HRDC 17 too. Oh God, never it happened like this. Normally I will gender. Where is this? Yeah. Now you can see, no? Yeah. Now you can see, no?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Now you can see, no? Because this
Yes,
this
madam.
has been very well taken by many, and that's why I don't want you to slideshow from the current. Okay. So this is actually what it is. It is picture clearly talks about what is equity and equality. So equity is just treating everybody equally, but whereas equality is differentially located people treating differentially. See, when we talk about in public finance also, so what we talk about is horizontal equity and vertical equity. So horizontal equity is equally treating equally located people equally treating, but whereas differentially located people are to be treated differentially. So when we are talking about equity, so this is equity. So equality is treating all, equality is treating all students the same. It is based on an input model that assumes it is fair to give. See, when we are talking equal means, see, if you are giving, for example, government programs, so give everybody. So treat everybody equally. So, but when treating everybody equally means poor itself, you take, poverty, below poverty line, some cutoff point is there. So all below poverty line, they're eligible for government programs. But not below poverty line from that paper is not true. So even among those people who have that below poverty line, some may be having other resources. And some of them may be working, some in the family may be having a better job. So when you give the resources equally, resources get wasted. So for example, objective everybody wants to see the match. Okay. To ensure equality, what they have done is they have given boxes. So because everybody wants to watch cricket, so everybody is given one box. All not there are one box. So a box in the even just even better actually box. So even if a box in the Anukula is able to see. Even a box kotru Anukula agila. Box kotru, this fellow is not able to see the match. Here the objective is, our objective is to give access to everybody. But when you are equally distributing without knowing the differences, when you are equally distributing, we are not achieving the objective, and resources are wasted. Actually, here one box is waste. We don't have to use this box. We can give to any fellow like this, or give. You see here we have ensured equity. So here here this fellow doesn't need. So instead of giving him this box, we have given this fellow 2 boxes. Not that we are doing special favor, because here our objective is to attain to give equal opportunity for everybody to access that match. So because they are differentially situated, so you are giving 2 boxes to this fellow, and this fellow has not got. This is idu no nyayane, idu anyaya alla. Yakante enidre idu namka objective enante helide ellarku access kodbeku. So ellarku kodbekanta now without looking at the situations if you give. So the same logic applies to gender studies, women's studies also. So women are located in differential places. So without knowing where they are located, for example, employment policies. We are talking about employment policies. We are talking about programs and access to resources, scholarships. In all these things, we have to look at where women are located. For example, insurance policies. So sumara insurance policies, there is no unorganized sector alli eega ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅದು ಎಷ್ಟು ಮಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ರಿಲೈಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. So the logic is we have to differentially located people are to be differentially treated. So we have to focus on equity. So equity. So equity ಮಾಡೋದ್ ಮೂಲಕ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಅವಕಾಶ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿದೆ. ಸೊ ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ ಇದನ್ನು ಒಂದು ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್. ಸೊ ಇದನ್ನು ಈಕ್ವಿಟಿ ಅಂಡ್ ಈಕ್ವಾಲಿಟಿಗೆ ಇದು ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್. ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಆಪರ್ಚುನಿಟಿ ಈಗ ಎಲ್ಲಾನು ಸುತ್ತ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ದಿಸ್ ರೌಂಡ್ಸ್. ಸೊ outer round fellow has to cover more. So whereas inner round fellow has to cover less if they are placed like this. ಎಲ್ಲಾನು ಸಮಾನ ಹಾಕಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಈ ಔಟರ್ ಲೈನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರೋ ಅವನಿಗೆ ಡಿಸ್ಅಡ್ವಾಂಟೇಜ್, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ದಟ್ ಫೆಲೋ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಟು ಟೇಕ್ ಎ ವೆರಿ ಲಾಂಗರ್ ರೂಟ್. ಸೊ ವೇರ್ ಈ ತರ ದೂರ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇವನ್ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಮುಂದೆ ನಿಲ್ಸಿ ಅವನ್ ಹಿಂದೆ ನಿಲ್ಸೋದ್ ಮೂಲಕ ಏನಾಯ್ತು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಯು ಆರ್ ಕವರಿಂಗ್, you are giving equal opportunity for all three of them to get to cover it, the whole thing in a given time. So this way ಇದು ಇವನ್ ಮುಂದೆ ನಿಲ್ಸಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಇವನ್ ಹಿಂದೆ ನಿಲ್ಸಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಯಾಕೆ ನಿಲ್ಸಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ to give equal opportunity for all three of them to be able to cover it, because there is a specific advantage for this fellow and there is disadvantage for this fellow. To reduce the disadvantage here, to increase the advantage for this, so we have treated them unequally. So this is what generally we show, we explain with these two diagrams, what is meant by equity and what is meant by equality. So equality is end product, whereas equity is ensuring. To ensure equality, we need to ensure equity. So, okay, I think I will stop here. 1 o'clock we are finished now. 1 o'clock now we have to complete. I think 2 minutes is there. So now the floor is open. If you want any clarifications, suggestions, I will be very happy.
Excuse me, madam. I am Shiva Prasad.
Yes.
I've got a question.
Yeah.
At what age we would calculate the gender ratio, madam?
Gender ratio. See, means the sex ratio, it is a sex ratio at birth and child sex ratio. There are different. So we have child sex ratio also. I didn't show you. Child sex ratio is much more skewed, 5 years, within 5 years. So there are different ratios. Child sex ratio is one concept which people use, and sex ratio at birth is another concept which is used. Yeah.
Okay. Is there any scientific studies which would make this sex ratio different? Because at birth itself, we have lesser sex ratio. Are there any scientific studies to support the argument?
No, support the argument in the sense, there are studies. Basically, it is because of female feticide, infanticide. So, theoretically, scientifically, the possibility of being born as a boy and girl are 50-50%. Because there are two alternatives. The XXX chromosome, XXY chromosome, they are rare cases. They are there. I'm not saying no. But on the whole, the probability of being born as a boy or girl, there are only two, 1/2, 1/2. Probability now calculate madidre 1/2, 1/2. So, ಆ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ನಮಗೆ 50 boys birth ಆಗಿದ್ರೆ 50 girls. Not in a day, over a period. Okay. So, there should have been 50 boys and 50 girls. But there are only 40 girls and 50 boys there. ಈಗ ಬಂದಿರೋದು. So ಅದು ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ girls are not allowed to be born. There are so many cases. With technology. In fact, the feticide ಆದ್ರೂ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, and Tamil Nadu and there are documentation is there. How they discriminate against girls and how they don't want the girls to be born. They have their own reasons why they don't want the girls to be born. So it is man-made.
Yeah,
scientifically, in the sense how the XX and Y chromosome happens, and how the offspring gets XX or XY, that nobody knows. It is natural selection. Okay. So, but here it is man-made. That is the only reason why this is skewed. Now it is improving actually. Sex ratio is improving now. Greater awareness and greater opportunity. Gender norms are changing. Now, not many parents are thinking that, girls should not be. Even some times, even girls are given preference to boys sending to higher education and paying more for the education. Yeah.
Madam, I would like to share one of the findings of my PhD research.
Okay.
I conducted research on career management.
Okay.
And in that, we found out that women are better career managers than men. The career
Yes.
self-management is at greater levels when
Yeah,
compared
higher
to
level.
men.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I am of the opinion that if opportunities are given, then definitely women can excel men.
Certainly capability. Now what the world is accepting that girls are equally capable. That was
True.
not the acceptance. For till very recently, oh, that was the kind of thinking. But now everywhere it is accepted that girls can perform. Okay. But none argument in this acceptance is there. And government and private companies are also encouraging, giving them scholarships and getting them to good education. So that is happening and they are also struggling hard. But with all these things, we don't have supporting services.
Correct.
We need to provide such kind of supporting services so that, they will also come. See, for example, providing a job near their place, posting near their place, government jobs. But the private, of course, some they give. And actually, theoretically, it is it is expensive to appoint a girl than a boy for a company. There are theories also. See, why company discriminates between a boy and girl is appointing a girl is more expensive to the company than a boy, because girl is to be given a paid salary, paid leave when she gets a baby. And also there is a possibility of girl. See, they will send for training. They spend so much money and time on her. So after coming, she may leave the job because her husband got transferred to some other place. So that is a loss for the company. Company looks at how much money they have spent. So that's why companies find it is expensive to appoint girls because of all these things. Gary Becker's theory is there. But what I am arguing is that for such companies, government has to come and support, and supporting services are to be provided for the girls so that, they need, and also breaking. So if they take a break in India, once a girl takes a break from her career, she can't enter into again. It is very, very difficult. But we should provide such kind of opportunities for the girls to get. And one more thing, system approach, and I was talking about morning. No? See, Government of India has introduced a law where, the maternity leave is increased in government appointments and all. Now girls can take 2 years leave, something like that. Now maternity leave has increased, and parental leave also, they can split it and till the child comes to some school. Some rules and regulations are there. So what has come, what is the repercussion of this is, some are deliberately avoiding taking girls. See, there is what is called unwritten laws work. In an interview, both boy and girl perform equally well. When that situation comes, boy is given preference than girls because there are costs involved in it. So it is backfiring. That policy is actually backfiring. So we need to do something about that. There are studies. So it is a very complicated, again, we have to put it in system perspective, how to make them participate in economic activities is very, very important. For which we need investments in those areas where, there is a supporting service, even allowance for 1 or 2 years till the baby is 1 year or 2. So some allowance so that she can engage a servant maid full-time. How many can afford a full-time servant maid? So it is worth giving some assistance till not give Purti Jivan Paranta Kodi anta yaru kelta illa, till the child comes to a stage of 1 year or 2 years. So there are so many issues, but nothing happens. People look at
Right.
Not many are so sensitive.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
It is a sensitive problem.
They want the
Okay.
benefits out of her participation, but not giving anything back. That's
Hello, namaste.
yeah.
ಸಸ್ಟೈನಬಲ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರಲ್ಲ, ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಯಾವ ಶಬ್ದ ಉಪಯೋಗಿಸಬಹುದು ಮೇಡಮ್ ನಾವು?
ಸಸ್ಟೈನಬಲ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್, ಸುಸ್ಥಿರ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿ
ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಬೇರೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಪರ್ಯಾಯವಾಗಿ ಬೇರೆ ಶಬ್ದ ಯಾವ್ದು ಬಳಸಬಹುದಾ?
ನನ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. ನನ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿರೋದು ಸುಸ್ಥಿರ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿ ಅಂತಾನೆ ಗೊತ್ತು. ಸಸ್ಟೈನಬಲ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಸಸ್ಟೈನಬಲ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಂತಾನೆ ಅಂತೀವಿ, ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಸುಸ್ಥಿರ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿ ಅಂತಾನೆ.
ಸುಸ್ಥಿರ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿ ಸರಿ ಮೇಡಮ್,
ಅದನ್ನೇ ನಾವು ಬಳಸ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ ಸುಸ್ಥಿರ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿ ಅಂತ. ಅಲ್ಲ, ಇಫ್ ಯು ಕಾಯಿನ್ ಸಮಥಿಂಗ್ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ, ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಆಡ್. ಏನಾದ್ರು ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತಾ ನಿಮ್ ಬೇರೆ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಬಳಸ್ಬೋದಾ? ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಅನ್ಸಿದ್ಯಾ ಬೇರೆ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಪದ ಬಳಸ್ಬೋದಂತ?
ಕೇಳಿದೆ ಮೇಡಮ್, ಗೊತ್ತಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಕೇಳಿದೆ.
ಅಲ್ಲ ಹಂಗಲ್ಲ, ನಾನು ಸೀರಿಯಸ್ಲಿ ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ನಿ. ಐ ಆಮ್ ನಾಟ್ ಮಾಕಿಂಗ್. ನೋ, ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಹೌ ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ವೊಕ್ಯಾಬ್ಯುಲರಿ ಡೆವಲಪ್ಸ್. ಇನ್ನು ಏನಾದ್ರು ಪದ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಬಳಸ್ಬೋದಂದ್ರೆ, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ನನಗೆ ನಿಮ್ಮಷ್ಟು ನಾಲೆಡ್ಜ್ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಇಲ್ಲ. ನಾನು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದಿದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಕಲ್ತ್ಕೊಂಡಿರೋದು ಕನ್ನಡ. ಆದ್ರಿಂದ ನನ್ಗೇನ್ ತಲೆಗೆ ತೋಚಲ್ಲ. ಬಟ್ ಮೇ ಬಿ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಇನ್ನೇನಾದ್ರೂ ಐಡಿಯಾ ಬರ್ಬೋದು. ಒಂದು ಗಂಟೆ ಏನಮ್ಮ ಏನ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ?
ಸುವ್ಯವಸ್ಥಿತ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿ,
ಸುಸ್ಥಿರ, ಸುವ್ಯವಸ್ಥಿತ ಇಸ್ ಡಿಫರೆಂಟ್. ಸುಸ್ಥಿರ ಇಸ್ ಡಿಫರೆಂಟ್. ಸುವ್ಯವಸ್ಥಿತ ಇಸ್ ಡಿಫರೆಂಟ್.
Vyavasthita means systematic, madam.
ಹಾ, ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಸುವ್ಯವಸ್ಥಿತ, ವ್ಯವಸ್ಥಿತವಾಗಿ ಮಾಡೋದು ಅದು
Yes.
ಅಲ್ವಾ?
ಓಕೆ ಮೇಡಮ್.
ಸುಸ್ಥಿರ ಇಸ್ ಡಿಫರೆಂಟ್. ಸೊ ವಿ ಕಾಂಟ್ ಯೂಸ್
ಪರ್ಮನೆಂಟ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥನೂ ಆಗ್ಬೋದಲ್ಲ ಮೇಡಮ್? ಪರ್ಮನೆಂಟ್
ಶಾಶ್ವತ, ಶಾಶ್ವತ,
ಶಾಶ್ವತ.
ಶಾಶ್ವತ.
ಹಾ ಹೌದು, ಶಾಶ್ವತ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿ ಅಂತ
ಶಾಶ್ವತ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿ.
ಶಾಶ್ವತ cannot be. ಸುಸ್ಥಿರ means, madam, shall I?
ಯಾ ಪ್ಲೀಸ್. ಯಾ,
ಏನ ಸುಸ್ಥಿರ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದಾಗ ಒಂದು ಡೆವಲಪ್ಮೆಂಟಲ್ ಪ್ರೋಸೆಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಆಗಿಂದಾಗೆ ಏನೇನು ರಿಕ್ವೈರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಏನೇನು ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಅವೈಲಬಲ್ ರಿಸೋರ್ಸಸ್ ಇದೆ, ಅದನ್ನ ಹೇಗೆ ಎನ್ಹಾನ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ನಾವು ಬಳಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ಡೆವಲಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು ಅನ್ನೋಕೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟ ಹಾಗೆ ಸುಸ್ಥಿರ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಶಾಶ್ವತ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ವಿ ಕೆನಾಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಪರ್ಮನೆಂಟ್ ಸೊಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಫಾರ್ ದಿಸ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್.
there is nothing like any permanent development ಅಂತ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಏನೂ ಇಲ್ಲ.
ಹೌದು, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಇಸ್ ದ
exactly
permanent solution. Accordingly,
now it is dynamic. It is dynamic. The processes that are
yes,
that you identify as sustainable this
yes,
time may not be sustainable in other times,
ಹೌದು.
because again we are living in a world, all are interconnected.
Today's
So-
plan may not suit for
Yeah,
next days,
exactly. It may not suit. Yeah,
requirement.
exactly.
Yes, ma'am.
Exactly. I don't think we can use ಶಾಶ್ವತ ಅಂತ ಪದ ಬಳಸಬಾರ್ದು ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಸ್ತಾರೆ.
ಸಮರ್ಥನೀಯ can be used, madam, in Kannada. ಸಮರ್ಥನೀಯ.
ಎಫಿಷಿಯಂಟ್ ಅದು ಎಫಿಷಿಯನ್ಸಿ, ಎಫಿಷಿಯಂಟ್ ಅದು ಎಫಿಷಿಯಂಟ್ ಅಂತ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ ಅದು. ಏನೇ ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡಿ, ಏನ್ ಗೊತ್ತಾ, ನೀವು 1 hour ಓದಿದ್ರೆ 1 ಗಂಟೆ ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು. ಅವಾಗ್ಲೇನೆ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಕಾಂಟ್ರಿಬ್ಯೂಟ್. ಯು ಆರ್ ಆಲ್ ವೆರಿ ಯಂಗ್, ಸೊ ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ಸೋ ಮಚ್ ಆಪರ್ಚುನಿಟಿ ಫಾರ್ ಯು ಟು ಕಾಂಟ್ರಿಬ್ಯೂಟ್. ನಮ್ ಕಾಲ ಆಯ್ತು. ಈಗ ಏನ್ ಗೊತ್ತಾ, ನಾವು ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಸೋ ಮಚ್ ಆಕ್ಸೆಸ್ ಟು ಇಂಟರ್ನೆಟ್ ಅಂಡ್ ರಿಸೋರ್ಸಸ್. ಮಧ್ಯಾಹ್ನ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಇದೆಯಾ?
Yes, madam.
ಓ, ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ at 2 o'clock?
ಹಾ, madam. 2 o'clock.
Then you have time. No, but ಏನಂದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ ಟೈಮ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಈಗ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಎನಿ ಕ್ಲಾರಿಟಿ ಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಆಕ್ಸೆಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಏರಿಯಾ ಐಡೆಂಟಿಫೈ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಸ್ಪೆಷಲೈಸ್ ಇನ್ ದಟ್ ಏರಿಯಾ. ಸೊ ನಾವು ಆಕ್ಸೆಸ್ ಟು ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಶನ್ ಇಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಈಸಿ. ರಿವ್ಯೂ ಆಫ್ ಲಿಟರೇಚರ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಸುಲಭ ಆಯ್ತು. ನಾವೆಲ್ಲ ಎಷ್ಟು ಕಷ್ಟಪಡ್ತಿದ್ವಿ ರಿವ್ಯೂ ಆಫ್ ಲಿಟರೇಚರ್. ಆ ಲೈಬ್ರರಿಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಿದ್ವಿ, ಕೇರಳ, ಕರೆಕಾಲ, ಎಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲೋ ಹೋಗಿದ್ವಿ ಲೈಬ್ರರಿಗೆ ನಾನು ರೆಫರೆನ್ಸಸ್ಗೋಸ್ಕರ ಅಂತ. ಇವಾಗ ಹಂಗಲ್ಲ, ಎಲ್ಲ ಎವ್ರಿಥಿಂಗ್ ಈಸ್ ಎಟ್ ಫಿಂಗರ್ ಟಿಪ್ಸ್. ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಇಟ್.